Just all stand in a circle and trust fall at each other's faces. I mean, we'll be mildly propped up, I suppose. So yeah, no need to stop between poems for me at least. Just keep rocking out. The first one is kind of psychedelic social commentary type stuff. Not super psychedelic, but a little bit. And then the second one is about sobriety, some heavy family stuff. And then third one is the police brutality one, which you heard. And then the last one is generational commentary, psychedelic-ish language. So I was just gonna... Is there any way we could record this? Oh, it's being recorded. Sick. The kids were right. Everything is falling apart, and the sky burns red with pollution, or the mistakes that we've all been making since we killed the Cro-Magnon brothers and sisters we could not recognize as our own. I've been told that indigo is not on the visible spectrum, but neither is the bright humanity contained within every living soul. We're all on a spectrum, either insanity or not quite so insane, and recognizing that we can choose our destiny propelled by genetics shaped by our trauma, the first step is looking another person in the eyes and saying, I know, I know. Every pronoun under the sun is used to address a fellow living entity because we contain multitudes. We can't feel entitled to let our compassion slip, because that's what leads to people having under the I-45 bridge as an address where mail will never be delivered. I will tell you this much. When a nuclear device detonates, it releases every known earthly light spectrum, and if you don't see indigo now, I pray you never do. The sky is not all right. We've been assaulting it far too long. It's not pleased with the way we have sabotaged our means of life, which is why it bleeds when the sun sets. I'd say we can find a way out of this predicament, but first we have to find a way into each other's lives. Can you imagine how surprised your neighbors would be if you shoveled their driveway and brought them fresh-baked brownies? Be kind, writ large, under a train bridge in Chicago. Be good, do good, massive on the side of a 30-story building in the Loop. A sobbing queen off 16th Street Mall in Denver. A typewriter spewing out words of affirmation in the garment district near Skid Row, LA. We've been reminding ourselves long enough. These fragile pieces are drifting away. Give me something to understand. Give me an unseeable color to see. Every person has the power of a nuclear device in their skin. Please, can we use that power to put the puzzle pieces back together, rather than burn them in the fire of our last meal? Ask me how many drinks I've had, and I'll ask you how many bars you've been to in the past month. This alcohol belongs to me. This wall of spirits will not satiate this hunger for many, many days. To say my parents only drink a little would be me sitting you in front of a play, and my line is, I remember when I was old enough to see my dad drop Jameson in his coffee on the way out the door in the morning. He put his finger on his lips and said, shh. He'd slam you against the wall. He threatened to kill you, but I can't blame it on them. Their temporary love was a way to live, and while they may not have wanted me, they kept me, and for that I am ever thankful. My friends and I talked when I was older, and most agree that mine was an unusually bad childhood. Sorry, they'd say. This makes me fear my parents are reading this, and I have a feeling they will, because as I'm writing, my hands are shaking, and there's a tingle up my spine and to the crown of my skull, and this feeling is God apologizing to me, which means I have to read this in public or God will not leave me alone. And I'm crying, yet I know I am held. Life fell on me. His hand brought me back up. Maybe I won't have that drink after all. Or maybe I'll replace it with something much stronger. I don't want to become a totem for my parents' dysfunction. I want to become a chalice, or perhaps a bottomless teacup that will fill with our collective trauma, warm them over, and coat them with honey. I just got off the phone with my father, and it took him a few tries to hang up. Why do I forgive them? Because they were strong enough to pull us out of abject poverty? Or because when we were upper middle class, my dad said rich starts at $500,000 a year, and after a while it was $1 million. All these things they brought us temporary joy, but permanent pain. I don't forgive them for this. I forgive them because they forgive me. Being dragged across the floor by my hair once, telling me that she wanted an abortion, and my father wouldn't let her, but she loves me anyway. Why mom was so angry, and then immediately so kind, is something my child brain could not sort out. Why was she gone for so long on vacations alone? The question would burn when 3 months rolled around and she still wasn't home, whether she would ever return. Maybe the possibility of her in the military was what I thought to comfort myself, hoping that she had not abandoned us. But my mom has confirmed and denied being in the military, so maybe I'll never know which is which. Or maybe she lies. Hell, I'd join the special forces for free if we could return to a time when all 5 of us were at the table laughing. I've been over it a lot and know that reversing entropy is physically impossible. But that doesn't stop my compassion from overflowing and breaking my bones. I take a sip. It is estimated that police encounters with those suffering from untreated mental health conditions account for 50% of all fatal interactions with law enforcement. I didn't know this then, but when I was diagnosed with bipolar type 1 at age 14, I thought I'd be dead at the age of 21. Those with bipolar live on average 20 years less than the national life expectancy, which means I'll be dead at 55. These statistics were running like fire through my head when the cop put the handcuffs on my feet and the feet cuffs on my hands. When he slammed my knees and head repeatedly into the side of his cruiser, yelling at me to get into the fucking car. I imagined my life as a data point in a field of numbers. When he failed to buckle me into the back and drove like a maniac, I did everything I could not to break my neck on the frame of the car, praying that I wouldn't be a quadriplegic at the end of the ride, praying that I would have the chance to tell my mother I loved her before the last breath escaped my lungs. When he dragged me out of the car, pulling me forward by my cuffs, screaming at me to walk, threw me to the ground, and primed his taser between my eyes, he said, "Get the fuck up or I'm going to tase you in your fucking face." I saw God, and he told me it wasn't my time. I screamed help, louder than I have ever screamed in my life, and the nurse came out yelling, "What the fuck is going on out here?" You see, he was simply supposed to transport me from point A to point B because there were no ambulances. I'm thankful I'm alive, because to me that's the greatest recourse I can have against someone who nearly destroyed my life. I don't plan on being a statistic, and I don't plan on giving up. One day when I'm much older than 55, I hope to look that man in the face and tell him, I forgive you, and I hope you've lived a blessed life. My storerooms have no shelves left for revenge. Searching for handouts and sure dreams. We arrived before we started classes and expected all of our books to be paid for by our parents. We graduated with a long way to go before the world would consider us adults. We came into this world kicking and screaming, and we were left/fired from our first office job the same way. Our generation may know the end of death, and we chat about it as nonchalantly as we take our Abilify. We hold what was once considered a supercomputer in our hands to ignore the onset of infinity. Forever, with its abyss, is swallowing us like apples. Forbidden fruit has become our breakfast, by which I mean we've destroyed all social convention, and we are all fucking each other, either sexually or professionally or in the mind. We are bereft. We are lawless. We stalk the streets, drinks in hand, cigarettes in mouths, drugs in every vein if we DARE. We can't shock you anymore because we are all bound for the electric chair. We might become more machine than man before we know the end of things. The world is buckling under the weight of our consumption. We have consumption. Ashley has dysentery. Ashley has died. We learned that people die by playing the Oregon Trail. Someone in a country we can't comprehend has died of a disease we only ever see in green glowing letters. We are self-absorbed. We are hopeless. We are useless. We care more than anyone born before us. We are horrified. We can do nothing because so few of us have anything. We have been abandoned by a world that told us to follow our dreams. We are mostly American, and most of us are uneasy about it. Some of us have left permanently. We would like to know if you want fries with that. We want to know where the hell that layer went in Photoshop. We would like to know if you are allergic to penicillin. We would like to know why we have to proofread this bill when Congress won't read it. We would like to change the world, but it is doubtful we will run for president because fuck that shit. We would still like to believe the system will one day work. We are running as fast as we can, and we can't see the end. We are tired of insane people running for office. We are, most of us, insane. We have, most of us, been to a therapist. We have yelled about our parents to a stranger. We are weary and weak. We have wept and we have forgiven us, for we know not what we have done. We have abandoned faith or we never had it. We are one with the mystics. We came back to church to challenge authority. God was dead before we showed up, so it's not our fault. Ask the murderers. Ask your neighbor for a cup of sugar. Do any of us remember that? That was a thing? We are missing everything necessary to be whole. Yet we are so earnest. We try hard, and we care about each other, and we want what's best for everyone. And we are all going to fail because we are competing with each other, and there's only so much bread, and so much money, and so much water, and let's privatize that while we're at it. Great fucking move there. We are private about nothing. We post publicly about everything. Our necks are arching and our backs were broken a long time ago by standardized tests. We've taught for America and found that it didn't make the grade. We are failing you, my dear. We are already in detention. We will not look up to say hello, either because of our phones or because we are in a hurry, or because we have every reason to be afraid. We are long past closing time. We are now old enough to see someone we used to know living homeless and mad on the Red Line in Chicago. We are without hope even though we voted for it. We are working so hard because even if the world ends, at least we won't have done nothing. We have done nothing. We are already gone. We are here to stay. We are worth every penny. We will carry this backpack packed for us by everyone else on our back. We will usually ford the river. We are a stone rippling in the oceans of time. Don Bluff raised us. We are personally acquainted with Nim, adventure, whimsy, and all that bag of shit on earth as it is in heaven. When this world fades away, we will care more. We cry a lot, alone and in groups. Why isn't everyone crying? We pay attention. We were born ready for the earth to explode at any minute. We are the first generation to know that Mother Earth is totally fucked. We are the only ones complacent in our rage. We want to share an apple with you, but it's filled with chromium 10. WebMD says we died yesterday. Why wouldn't we be neurotic? Why wouldn't we be scared? Why wouldn't we DARE to do every substance under the sun? We are stuffing every gun with every flower we can find, and we fight for everyone because we want what's best. We deserve what's best. We give our best. We will pull the marrow from our cancer-bound bones and let America chew us alive. We've given up. We've given everything. We have no soul to give. Every generation hates us since they started naming generations. I guess that makes us Judas Iscariot, who walks more closely with Jesus than we do. We've won Olympic medals. We've cured Ebola. We've written the next great American novel. We've sold out our Monsters Ball. We've got more degrees than the Bible's got Psalms. We've seen planes become bombs, and we are ready to lift the towers back up. We've left the pity party behind. We want you on our side. We are, like it or not, the future. We have our orders. We are marching. We are Christ. We are overdone. We are the first of our kind. We are going to live forever. We can see the edge of the world from here. Will you come with us? That was awesome. That was great.
That was great, guys. That was quite a journey.
That was the end too? Like you just have the end right there?
Yeah. I don't know, that felt great. How long was that?
22 minutes.
No. You got something 14 tops. 18.
Sick.
That was exactly how long it took. We were both equally wrong.
Yeah, that was fucking great.
Are we going into me or are we taking a break?
Ready?
I'm ready. That last one reminded me of when I was when they lined me up for trial. I will confess to all. It's true. It was me. I got fat on the blood of the land while unknown millions of children went hungry. I confess. By age 18, I learned the depth of evil that my lifestyle created, and I burned no government buildings. I assassinated no CEOs. I cut lines of no bulldozing madmen. I allowed Wall Street to stand. I confess. Every diaper I shat in still sits steaming in some landfill. And so addicted to plastic was I that I drank from a false nipple, and never my mother. I stole powdered milk from unwilling, suffering cows before I was even weaned. Do you understand? On plastic toys, I teased. I confess. I mistook whiteness for beauty before I could read Jack and Jill. I never read the Lorax. I confess. I ate sugar greedily, hungrily, recognized brand names instead of flowers and trees. I confess. I wanted princess and prince realities and castles and thought myself entitled to them. I confess. I mistook consumerism for love. I asked my beleaguered parents for everything the television showed me I wanted. I confess. I took for granted lights and heat and water, and I wasted, and I confess. I pissed in potable water, not just once, every day. I know. I confess. I painted with poison and poured it on the earth. I confess. I drew sketches on the corpses of trees. I confess. I know better. I knew where my meat came from, but I was hungry, and I ate, and I ate, and I ate. I never looked a single animal in the eye. I let faceless men cut, quarter, and bleed my meat. I let faceless men cut, quarter, and bleed my meat. I confess. I confess. I thought I was saving the world. I know. By filling notebooks with alarm bell poetry, by riding my bike, by using words like community when referring to a party. I thought my hobby gardens, my hobby chickens, my hobby of protesting catchy, pithy phrases. I thought I'd educate people. I know. I knocked on doors for a living for 5 years, talked about rape and mercury in waterways and lobbying and transbound diversions and on and on. I confess. I interrupted family dinners, woke babies, scared dogs, and thought myself righteous, thought myself pious. I confess. In my pride and arrogance did I think I was helping. I confess. When I stopped believing, I didn't stop canvassing. I learned the skills to sell anything. I confess to helping Elon Musk get rich by selling solar panels. I confess to lining the pockets of landlords. I confess to selling my body, time, and energy for money. I confess to driving to gallons upon gallons of gasoline. I confess to boarding a jet plane for the mere pleasure of being elsewhere. I confess to online shopping for underwear. I confess to chain store groceries instead of CSAs. I confess to sucking my lights, sucking coal with every light, every late night staying up to read dystopian novels. I confess I killed the unborn children of a rapist. I confess I killed the unborn child of a rapist, and I suffered the rapist to live. I confess to the crime of being a child to a dying world. I confess to optimism followed by cynicism. I confess to hedonism, to martyrdom. I confess it was I who stole the honey from the bees, wiped my ass with the last of the trees. It was me who ate bananas, thrown a continent away. I was the one who ate the last of the fish. I confess I was scared of the homeless man I said to. I confess I punched my friends, but not one Nazi. I confess I turned down an opportunity for coffee. I confess to claiming more than one gender. I confess to greed. I confess to plastic buckets and not one metal pail. I confess to plastic bags and straws and straws and straws that broke the Arctic's and ocean's back. I confess to indulging in late night snacks, to witnessing suffering and doing nothing, to confess joy amidst pain. I am vain, confess toxicity, ableism, and the standards of beauty. I confess to my perversion, to pornography, to misogyny, to everything that got me off. I see I'm sick, hypocrite. I taught my child over, I had none to share. I confess to yelling, screaming, and threatening. I confess to fatigue and dreaming. I confess to believing God still loved me despite my crimes against the earth, against humanity. I confess to shit talking and virtue signaling. I confess to guilt and shame and obsession with redemption. I confess I want you to forgive me, but I do not think I deserve the forgiving. And I confess that this confession was not for you, nor for the earth we are collectively raping, but the millions, soon to be billions, starving. I confess to wanting more than I got, even though I'm one of the wealthiest people on earth. I confess to hard drugs and easy decisions. I confess to fast food and long weekends. I confess to self-obsession and self-doubt, to wanting more than what I found. I confess to shirking leadership. I confess to shifting blame. I confess to selling out, to playing the game. I confess to voting for Democrats. I confess to not voting at all. I confess to confessional poetry. I confess. Harvesters of cabbage, fermenters of kimchi, roasters of peanuts, preservers of jelly, loggers of forests making room for palm oil trees. My hunger is astounding, it takes thousands to feed me. Rice farmers waiting, geneticists tinkering. Rice farmers waiting, geneticists tinkering. Migrants are wielding heavy, bloody cleavers. All to appease me, all to feed me, my gluttony. My hunger is astounding, it takes thousands to feed me. Butchers of cattle, smokers of jerky. My hunger is astounding, it takes thousands to feed me. I never look the animals that I eat in the face. I've never had flesh, but I have tasted. I have gotten fat on the blood of the land. I suck the marrow from the bone, the bloody-handed Uncle Sam. It takes thousands to feed me. Bananas cost much more than this $1.50. Labor unions organized, but they've yet to starve me. Migrant farmers picking food in the dead of night, cause the heat waves will kill them in broad sunlight. My hunger is astounding, it takes thousands to feed me. Orchard owners of almond trees, semi-truck drivers of bees. My hunger is astounding, it takes thousands to feed me. Clippers of arugula, patent office employees. Our hunger is astounding, it takes thousands to feed us. Millers of wheat, landlords of bakeries. We have waged war, exterminated species for this hunger, gnawing hunger for this ache in our bellies. We've caught fish, we've caught algae, we've caught beavers. Ooh, cause our hunger is astounding, it takes thousands to feed us. Hunger is astounding, it takes thousands to feed us. We wield tractors, guns and beakers, cleavers, fucking cleavers. We've turned meadows into sprawling farms. Ancient jungle, cattle, ranches, all the other animals are picking up our crumbs! Picking up our crumbs! Hunger is astounding, it takes millions to feed us. Hunger is astounding, it takes billions to feed us. Shipping containers of foreign fruits, tomatoes in boxes and trucks, preservers of seeds, manufacturers of baggies, makers of cheese. Our hunger is astounding. Come over to our houses, eat as much as you please, but I would if I could. But I'm warning you, buddies, our hunger is astounding. Hunger is astounding. Astounding, it takes thousands to feed me. I tried fasting, I tried coffee, farming, tried foraging, but it's only my two hands that were ever to feed me. I thought that I would starve in a matter of weeks. I dig roots that I have buried. I eat tomatoes and cherries, peaches, wild grapes, onion berries. Fun with winter turns, I'd be gnawing on my hands. I'm grateful for the thousands, for the millions who feed me. Grateful to the thousands, to the millions who feed me. I am grateful to the thousands, millions who feed me. Have you heard the wind rushing through your ears at 42 miles an hour? Trusting a surface an inch wide to carry me. Old injuries, aching knees, sun scorching, riding feet sometimes inches away from the racing cars, the dump truck semis on highways, in pouring rain, potholes, not to mention assholes shouting faggot from the safety of porches and behind car doors with glass windows. He told me he doesn't trust anyone who doesn't bike. I wouldn't go so far, but you know what it's like. Do you know what it's like to be vulnerable, surrounded by those who don't see you, aren't looking for you, whose bad day and bad judgment can kill you, whose glass and metal cage keep them safe, while your body is vulnerable? Do you know what it's like to perch on a bicycle seat, skin simmering under summer heat, turn of gears and push of pedals slowly, spradily? The road unfurls, winds into horizon like a lover's skin. Another hill, another bend, a quick sprint, the legs burning, body leaning, climbing, panting, sweating, breaking through your own understanding of your own body. Do you know what it is to be the strongest and most vulnerable thing in any given intersection? this one, so I soothe Wiley. Show me how delicately you run your finger across a petal. The firmness and care with which you dig a hand into soil, tenderness tickling roots apart. The abandon which you let warm sand slip through your fingers. Show me the way you bend sound with your body, weaving feedback into tension, suspense, slow dancing with the frequency. Show me the way you move with your fury, sleight of hand at the grocery store. The way you grin over the spoils. Your flinch at the drip of wax, the talismans that you take to gamble. Show me the unraveling of your fingers to shoot the dice, the impact of your fist against a deserving jaw, the ritual with which you prepare your vices, the aftermath of a brush with death. I want you to show me the way that you would eat an overripe peach, then kiss me. Just like that, with the juice still on your tongue. It's okay to be shy. Everyone with something worth to say is.
Count every single thing, experience that I have as an experience. And as an experience and learn to make the mundane things in life fun. Enjoy the fun things, but learn to make everything you do fun. I mean, my gosh, gang, we win some, we lose some, and some are rained out. Big deal.
You have to be loud on this one. a row.
He's a freaking hog!
I want a recording of that
all
one.
punketry right there.
Yeah.
It is there. You got it all right.
You did it. You jammed. You did it. Fucking catchy. Doesn't have to be complicated. Punk rock.
Oh no, it's the Doge. The Doge is unescapable.
Oh, what fun. You guys are fun. Let's do this more. This is great.